All right. Hey, Jenna, welcome to the Smarketing Show. Excited to have you here. Everyone, we have Jenna Miner joining us today for a great conversation about all things in the channel, sales, marketing, ConnectWise. Jenna, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about what you do?
I would love to. Aaron, it's great to see you again. As mentioned, I'm the channel dev manager for ConnectWise, specifically focused and targeted on the dealer channel. So all my roles and responsibilities and everything I live, breathe, eat, sleep is the dealer and making sure that they're successful in IT services and helping them along the way.
Awesome. Well, we had the opportunity to hang out last week at the MTA CDA event in Chicago,
Yep.
and it was like 110 degrees in Chicago. I know you got to enjoy that architectural boat ride after the event. But tell me a little bit about the feedback and how that event went, and what everyone was saying.
I personally, one of my favorite events is MTA. I think it's a fantastic subgroup, um, specifically focused on IT services. And if you look at MTA versus CDA, there's kind of this shift in, I should say this nicely, age maybe and direction, a generational shift between MTA and CDA members. And for this particular group, and obviously we did sweat on that architectural tour. That was the only negative about that. The group itself really was focused this quarter and overall on how to continue to grow their IT services businesses. And I think that they struggle across the board, whether you're a pure MSP or an office technology dealer that's looking to grow their business, and just identifying, the target profile, the ideal, client profile, what that looks like. And a lot of times they're fed this idea of, well, you've got 1,000 clients or 5,000 or 10,000 or 15,000. So just go after all of them. And, 90% of them are going to be perfect. Well, that's just not the case, right? So this particular meeting, it was really focused on, what good looks like, how to go into their client base and really focus on those clients that are going to be good IT services companies. And then the follow-up beyond that, not just identifying it, but like, okay, cool. We've got 100 clients. Let's go after them. Now what? So it was
Right.
mostly about, the now what factor. And I
Right.
think that's where everybody kind of stalls a little bit.
I totally agree with you. And when I was speaking to that group at the MTA, I thought that the questions around marketing were a lot more progressive than they have been in the past. Not that they haven't been good in the past, but we're talking about marketing automation, workflow, what happens when I get a lead and who nurtures that lead into following up with that and what kind of
Yeah.
technologies are they going to be using. I thought that there was a lot of really good questions from the group about
Yeah.
that. And one of the things that did stand out to me too is the ICP. I think that's kind of
Hmm.
a blurry spot for most organizations to figure out kind of what the right ideal client profile is. And probably we had a lot of conversation about it, where not to go, like what a bad client looks like, right? Want as many as
Hmm.
we can, but sometimes we don't want all the clients. Do you see
Yep.
that
And
across the board on your side too?
oh, across the board. And when you're training these MTA dealers or just the dealers in general, they're yes people, right? I sold copiers and you just say yes and everything else will kind of just work itself out. Everybody's the perfect client for a printer or an MFP. It is not that way, as you know, on the MSP side. And
Right.
changing the culture of saying no is the most difficult thing to do because you end up losing money on those clients, right? You got to fire them down the road then.
Right. Everyone holds on to the hopes and dreams that they might turn out to be a great
Yes,
client one day down the road, except you can't have good service delivery trying to service all the clients all the time or all
that's
the
exactly right.
opportunities. I guess that kind of dovetails into my next question. Like, what are you seeing that separates successful dealers from sort of the middle of the pack when it comes to adopting managed services? Because one of the things we talked about in the event was the majority of the revenue is still coming from print, and people are trying to make that
Mhm.
transition. Before we jumped on, you mentioned a partner of ConnectWise that's done that. So what are you seeing
Mhm.
kind of like successful dealers doing to separate themselves?
So I think the first thing and the most important thing is sticking with it. I think when dealers dip their toe into IT services and they don't fully commit to understanding their client base, understanding their solution stack, and almost happy mealing it, right? When you go in and you're like, this is the stack, this is my ideal client profile. It has to have so many end users, so many workstations, and really focus on that month over month, quarter over quarter, you're going to fail, right? So we see dealers that have the best intentions that are like, yes, we are going to flip, 50-50 IT services and print. We're diversifying. And then they stutter step and they fail. And then they stop and they'll never go back. And I think that's the biggest issue that we're seeing between successful dealers and non-successful dealers is that they feel those failures. They're losing a little bit of money, but there is light at the end of the tunnel if you focus on your client base, benchmarking and data, understanding where the gap is, really focusing on QBRs to make sure that your clients are happy, and never like being almost violently relentless, right? You got to make sure you're following up and having those tough conversations and really never giving up, because you know this too. It probably takes about 18 to recognize some sort of productive and profitable revenue when you're starting IT services businesses. It takes some time, but once you get that flip, then it should be smooth sailing as long as you're following up.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think the perseverance piece plays a lot into a whole bunch of different aspects of the dealer community, right? Like being able to maintain that, fight through the challenges, identify what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
What do you see on the marketing and sales side of things for dealers? Because part of this is about, we do have a turnover challenge, right? Bringing new people in and trying to recruit the right people, and then obviously generating the leads. So trying to create that kind of level of consistency, so the clients do know that actually you do have the service, you're really good at it, you've done it before, and you'd be a great fit for their organization.
Yes. So, Documation happened to sit on a panel at MTA. It was, Documation. Yes. All Copy was on there with Brad, Ben Russert. So it was this group of individuals, and they were talking about this specific question that you asked. And Preston said, the guy that's just feeding my copier, revenue, leave him alone. He's 60 years old. It's quality of life. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Don't try and make that guy your IT services rep, right? Go into the younger base. Don't talk about copiers and printers. That's like old kind of technology. Yes, it is high revenue generating. It is what is supporting their IT services business. Leave the guys that are doing the good print stuff alone. Focus on the younger generation. Help them understand that it's not a copier and print business. It's the next generation of what they're trying to offer and the solutions that they're selling. And it was when Preston was saying that, I was like, man, I hope every dealer is listening to this, right? Because if you're trying to change like the guy that's speaking Spanish and make him speak English, like just leave him alone, right? Let them do what they're doing well. And you'll start to kind of train that next generation of reps coming up, and leave the old guys, leave them alone. They're just ringing the cash register and doing what they need to be doing.
Right, 100%. I mean, if the majority of the revenue is still coming in from print and that's working, then why mess with it? I think that old mentality was, all right, now we're going to go in and you're going to sell copiers and you're going to sell cyber and you're going to sell IT and you're going to go stuff. And it was like, no, that's not my wheelhouse. I can't do that, right? So I totally see that shift happening as well. Like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But put your energy into hiring specialists and people that can identify IT opportunities and engage the right people at the right time. I think that's going to give you more traction. You're going to spin your wheels trying to bring someone into something they're not interested in.
And that's a great kind of segue. So, ConnectWise can help a little bit with that, right? We have our partner program. We offer a lot of like strategic partners like yourself and Into Communication to help really focus on how to enable, be better, speak to their clients, and look at holistically what they're doing on the marketing side, right? Branding, awareness, and all that. So we can kind of help guide the dealers to people like you. And that's something that I think is so important, is that we're a conduit for really good strategic partners like Into Communications to help them focus on how to grow that side of their business.
That's awesome. Actually, maybe you can expand on that and talk a little bit more about the partner program, because I know you guys have a bunch of components to the partner program. There's MDF funding available based on the level of their engagement with ConnectWise. So maybe kind of give a bit of an overview on that.
Yeah, and we could probably talk about this for an hour. This is my favorite part of ConnectWise. I think it sets us aside and adds a tremendous amount of value to the imaging channel, because we do have this partner program and we work with people like you, Kingston Training Group, even like technology integrators like Great America, Sales Chain, CEO Juice. We understand the totality of the dealer business and what helps drive revenue, right? And then also what new is. So if you're part of the partner program, and think of it like a loyalty program, right? Like you type in your phone number and it's like, oh, every time that I, purchase from ConnectWise, I automatically get funds directed, deposited into my account. It's a no-brainer, right? It is such a small lift. You're already doing business with us. you acquire MDF and it can be used to offset costs for Into Communications, right? So if
Right.
they're struggling on the marketing side, and I know you hate when I say this, the marketing makeover, but
Yeah.
but if they need help, right? Utilize their MDF, offset the cost up to 50% depending on what they purchase from you guys, and then they're on their way. We're kind of just the middleman to get to you to help them grow their business.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I love the partner program and the fact that I think it buttons up a lot of the gaps that, the go-to-market has. So like to Preston's point, documentation, okay, if so leave that guy alone. Well, then how do we train the reps and how do we help market it? And how do we align the sales and marketing together? There's a lot of components that go into that. So the fact that ConnectWise is putting MDF dollars to it and resources and partnerships and all that stuff goes a long way in helping dealers. Do you have any success stories or anything that you want to highlight or anything where it's really working?
So we actually have seen a lot of success if those that are in the partner program are utilizing MDF the way that they're supposed to be utilizing it. They're actually 4 times more profitable than the standard MSP. So it's an incredible amount of, profit that they're seeing if they're focusing on sales enablement, pricing and packaging, right? So within the partner program, we actually go back and we're like, okay, what are you doing that you should be doing differently, right? If you're not in the partner program, there's no one to kind of be that river guide for you to look and say, all right, how can we get speakers to our webinars? Are we doing hosted events that are directly within our organization? Are we doing like wine about IT night and have like wine tasting, or beers and engineers, and we talk all about IT services and cybersecurity? ConnectWise can help drive and fill that funnel. But then also it's not about those singular events. If you just do those one events, every quarter, it doesn't, you're not creating consistency or cadence or anything like that. It's bringing people like you in to basically say, awesome, events are great, but we're going to help you with campaign and content that's specific for your OT clients. So I think it's important to marry up subject matter experts, but a really strong cadence going forward.
Yeah, I totally agree, because those kind of hit it and quit it events. We talked a little bit about this at the MTA. Like I asked the group, is anyone here doing webinars for lead generation? And a couple people were, but they found that the results were mediocre because they were just doing an event and then leaving it and hoping that would generate a lot of opportunities. And I think you're right. Like we got to combine all these different things and pool all of our resources together. What's next? So you had the MTA event. Then what's the next kind of event coming out for ConnectWise that you're looking forward to?
So the next one is our IT Nation Connect event in November. It's being held from November 5th to 7th in Orlando. This is our big one. This is where we draw between 5 and 7,500, 5,000 to 7,500 partners. We're also hosting an office technology pre-day event at Connect. It's going to be November 5th. It's from 11 to 4, and we're focusing on exactly what we're talking about today. Internally at ConnectWise, I preach this so much. The pure MSP is totally different than the office technology MSP. And you know this very well, right? They have veteran clients, thousands of clients. They're not really cold calling. They have these relationships that are really strong in their client base that can be utilized in a good way on their IT services side. So I love having a mix of, all right, we've got a day for you, Mr. Dealer. We're going to talk all about your business and how we specifically help you. But after I release them to those 5,000, 7,000, partners that are out there, they can see other MSPs that are dedicated only to IT services and interface with them and kind of pick their brand on what they're doing and how they can do it better. So it's awesome. A good mix. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be a great event in November. Okay, Here's a final thought for you. You and I have worked together on and off for a long time, right? Almost 20 years.
Yes.
And we've been part of the Technology United and the ECS Summit. And there's a lot of buzz out there right now with ECS 2026 coming up and, guest speakers. And I see a lot online, and I know Into Communications is doing a lot from a marketing perspective. What are you excited about the most leading up to that event and looking forward to?
Well, first of all, thank you for aging me. That's always fun.
Same.
Second of all, I think ECS year over year, it's my most favorite broad event because it kind of kicks off every single year. And the thing that I'm looking forward to for this particular Executive Connection Summit in February is the shift from, you and I have seen it. It was all about print and production print and diversification. But it never was, where the rubber meets the road and what they have to do. So at ECS, and I'm going to talk about ConnectWise, where we're doing a little bit differently.
100%.
We actually are inviting a MSP that does very, very well, Decision Digital out of Atlanta. That's a partner of ConnectWise. And he is going to facilitate and moderate a panel of dealers that are ConnectWise partners, competitor partners. It's going to be a full office technology dealer panel hosted by an very successful MSP, because you and I hear it all the time. You can't make money, right? It doesn't work. You shouldn't do it. We hear it in the industry. And so to have somebody that's built his life for the last 30 years as a successful MSP to then be facilitating a panel, I think it's going to change how the dealers, the manufacturers, even the younger people that are sitting in the audience understand, see, and value the dealers as a whole, right? So I think that's going to be a really fun part. And on the flip side of that, we're no longer the young people in the room, right, Aaron? So it's fun to see a younger generation also attending ECS. I think that's the second part of the fun.
I love that. I think, that's great to be able to hear from, like, I'm doing it. This is what's working for me. This is what I'm seeing, and having that kind of perspective, more boots on the ground, real life, making it happen type thing. I think it's going to go a long way. And and to your point, you're right. I mean, there is a younger generation of people coming into the industry, bringing a fresh perspective. I think with what you guys are doing at ConnectWise, the evolution of the dealerships, whether it's succession planning for business owners or bringing in younger people into the business, people see this industry as a really great opportunity. And I think you're doing a great job of you're pioneering that and shining a light on this industry for everyone. So thanks a lot for joining me today on our Smarketing Show. Always great to catch up with you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Aaron.